Hey everyone, this is Lola and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, you're going to learn how to conjugate verbs in the near future, or it's called le futur proche in French. I've also included the negative, the inversion or interrogative, which is just a question, and inversion in the negative or negative interrogative. So here are the basics. Basically, to conjugate verbs in the near future, you need to know the following things. First, you need to know subjects, pronouns, or nouns, and I'll get into detail in the next couple of slides about all these things. The second thing is the verb aller conjugated in the present tense, and we call this the auxiliary of the verb aller. And the third thing you need are the infinitives of verbs. Ending in ER, IR, or RE. So here's the first part, subjects, pronouns, and nouns. So on the singular side, we have je, tu, il, elle, on, qui. And on the plural side, nous, vous, il, and elle. So these are pronouns. You can also have subjects or nouns. So for example, you could have for a noun a person's name, or it could be things. Notice also that I have all these words in green that are translated for you in English. So the second part is the auxiliary of the verb aller. So in another one of my videos, I showed you how to conjugate the verb aller in the present tense. And that's what this is. So if you don't know this yet, well, it's right here, or you can learn how to do that in my other video. So we have je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, on va, qui va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, and elles vont. And all the auxiliaries are the words that are in blue on either side over here. And finally, the third part are the infinitives ending in ER in this case. And I've just pulled out a couple of ER verbs that I've used in my other videos. So you can see a whole bunch of them here: jouer, parler, demander, écouter, rester, travailler, trouver, donner, penser, and arriver. And of course, there's so many more. These are just a few as examples. Here are a couple of infinitives ending in IR. Again, these are taken from my other videos. Choisir, grandir, réfléchir, réussir, veillir, rougir, remplir, nourrir, accomplir, and obéir. And we've got finally infinitives ending in RE, like attendre, perdre, entendre, fondre, rendre, vendre, étendre, dépendre, détendre, and confondre. These are other ones that are mixed up with ER, IR, and RE verbs, but they're pretty common verbs. So things like être, prendre, mettre, avoir, vouloir, courir, ouvrir, devoir, faire, and pouvoir. And these are other common verbs. Again, I use this with Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp, so it's just here to show you that you can use these as well, like descendre, retourner, monter, revenir, sortir, venir, arriver, naître, devenir, entrer, rentrer, tomber, rester, aller, mourir, and partir. Please remember that there are thousands of other verbs that I have not included here, so you can use any one of them. Put all three parts together and it becomes the near future. So here we go, take a look. We have je, which would be part of the subject, pronoun, or noun. We need the second part, which is the auxiliary of the verb aller. So that is vais. And finally, I'm going to use something here, aller, which is an infinitive ending in ER, IR, or RE, obviously ER in this case. So this is the verb aller conjugated, and then you can actually use it after as well, because you want to say, I am going to go. So that's the to go part. I'm going to go. Over here, I used a different one. Finir, I used an IR. So, je vais finir. I'm going to finish. And this one is an RE verb, attendre. And that means to wait. So, I am going to wait. Je vais attendre. Again, the first part, the second part, and the third part. So I've done a full sentence here using aller again. Je vais aller au parc. I'm just completing the sentence. So we already used the sentence, je vais aller au parc, which means I'm going to go to the park. So this is to go, aller. The next one is, tu vas jouer au parc. And we know that that means to play. So it's going to mean you're going to play at the park. Il va rester au parc. He's going to stay at the park. Elle va travailler au parc. She's going to work at the park. On va réfléchir au parc. One's going to think at the park. Qui va courir au parc? Who's going to run to the park? Nous allons attendre au parc. We're going to wait at the park. Vous allez être au parc. You're going to be at the park. Ils vont venir au parc. They're going to come to the park. And elles vont tomber au parc. They're going to fall at the park. Now let's look at the negative form. So remember, to make a sentence negative, you must add the words ne or an apostrophe and pas or jamais, which surround the auxiliary of the verb aller. So think about what the auxiliary of the verb aller is, and then ne goes before it, and the pas or jamais will go after it. So in the positive sense, we say je vais aller au parc, just like we just did. And then to make it negative, we're going to say je ne vais pas aller au parc. So the ne goes before the auxiliary of the verb aller, and the pas goes after it. And je ne vais jamais aller au parc. So I've just used the word jamais here, which means never. I'm never going to go to the park. So if we look at each sentence in the negative form, we use the same sentences as we did before. Je ne vais pas aller au parc. Tu ne vas pas jouer au parc. Il ne va pas rester au parc. Elle ne va pas travailler au parc. On ne va pas réfléchir au parc. Qui ne va pas courir au parc? Nous n'allons pas attendre au parc. Vous n'allez pas être au parc. Ils ne vont pas venir au parc. Elles ne vont pas tomber au parc. And notice, I don't know if I showed this to you before, but it's an apostrophe here and here because this starts with a vowel. So that's why it's an apostrophe and not an NE. Let's look at the inversion form, which is the interrogative, which just means it's a question. So how do we do that? To make a sentence a question, you just need to invert the subject and the auxiliary of the verb aller. So in regular form, we would say tu vas aller. You're going to go. You are going to go. So what we need to do now is just flip these two. So it becomes vas-tu aller? Are you going to go? It becomes a question. Here's another example. Elle va aller. She's going to go. And then we flip it. But notice over here we had to use the letter T because va ends with a vowel and elle starts with a vowel. So it's just a rule in French. We need to put a T in between. So it's va-t-elle aller? Is she going to go? So we'll use these sentences here, the same ones that I've used before. So, vais-je aller au parc? Vas-tu jouer au parc? Va-t-il rester au parc? Va-t-elle travailler au parc? Va-t-on réfléchir au parc? Allons-nous attendre au parc? Allez-vous être au parc? Vont-ils venir au parc? Vont-elles tomber au parc? And now we're going to look at the same thing, but in the negative form. So inversion form in the negative, or negative interrogative. So to make a sentence negative in the inversion or negative interrogative form, you must again add the word ne or an apostrophe, but this time before the auxiliary of the verb aller, like we did last time, but it goes, the pas or the jamais goes after the subject or the noun or pronoun. So let's take a look at that. So here it is. The auxiliary of the verb aller, and there's the notes before it, and then we have the pas after the subject or the noun or the pronoun. So it becomes ne vais-je pas aller au parc? Ne vas-tu pas jouer au parc? Ne va-t-il pas rester au parc? Ne va-t-elle pas travailler au parc? Ne va-t-on pas réfléchir au parc? N'allons-nous pas attendre au parc? N'allez-vous pas être au parc? Ne vont-ils pas venir au parc? Ne vont-elles pas tomber au parc? And those are all your sentences in the inversion form in the negative. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope that this was helpful to you. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.